just one big story, isn't it?
Hi everybody, welcome to the Story Connection. I'm your host, Donna Wilberg. Well, tonight we are so happy to have a very special guest. She is an inspiration to many. Laurie Pedersen is the founder of the Capital Film Arts Alliance, and she's here to tell her story. Welcome.
Thank you.
It's good to have you on.
It's good to be here.
We hear your name all over the place. It's like you're connected to so many things. So why don't you start up by telling us how you got started in the film industry?
I basically answered a call for volunteers through an Access Sacramento PCS program. So the place called Sacramento, the second year that it ever existed, I heard them saying, we want people who can help with, the movies and with the acting, and I had a friend that was very interested in it. So I said, well, I'll go with you and just check it out, and went to the cast and crew call and listened to the pitches, and I thought, well, this is kind of cool, and I heard a story that I thought was really interesting, and I liked the director and what they were putting out there, and I literally went up to them afterwards and said, I don't know anything about making movies. Mm-hmm. I've been a movie fan for years, but never anything on the back end. Said, I don't know anything about making movies, but I can make coffee and I can make phone calls. So I bet I can help you somehow. He put me in charge of casting. And I did so well with that.
Because it does relate, coffee, phone calls, and casting.
Yeah, and I did so well with that within a couple of weeks, he called and said, I'd really like you to take over as production supervisor. And I said, okay. I have no idea what that means, but if you can direct me, I bet I can follow your instructions. And so that was my first adventure into short filmmaking, and it was one of those aha moments where I just realized it incorporated the people and the creative and the energy and just everything that was so much fun and also so fulfilling. You felt like you actually had contributed to something. Mm-hmm. And from there, we just immediately got pulled into another project, was asked to co-produce a feature film, and learned a lot in a very short amount of time. And I just started building this resource database of people and places and actors and forms, and at that point, this was in 2001, there were a lot of people that were talking about making films, but not a lot of people were really actively making them. So they started coming to me, well, where'd you get this? Well, how'd you find this? And at that point, I was probably into my 5th or 6th, 7th at least short film or music video. I've produced over 20 projects within about a 10-year period at that time. I kept very busy. I loved it. But at that point, in doing that, I realized we needed a resource that allowed people to share their connections and to share themselves. And it took more than a single silo of a few people to do this and do it well. And so I really wanted to build something within our industry that could help what I saw as an opportunity on a creative community kind of standpoint. Yeah. And so we actually repurposed a very casual social film group that we had at that point, that we used to get together every now and then and talk about, wanting to make movies. But we met at the Crest, and we couldn't talk very loud because they had movies playing downstairs, so we were a little bit limited. But at that point, we thought, we need something more. The market is growing, the talent pool is growing. Let's see what we can do to support that. So myself and Brian Darling, Jason Bortz repurposed and rebuilt what is now known as the Capital Film Arts Alliance. Within a couple of years, we filed for our nonprofit status, and we became an official nonprofit. Mm. And we literally went from a database of about 20 people. I think we had $16 in a cash box and an Excel spreadsheet. And we've now built the organization into a really thriving nonprofit. We have a database of over 2,500 people.
Oh my gosh.
We have our nonprofit status that allows us to apply for grants and to also help others in grant situations, fiscal situations. And we now have 3 meetings a month that allow, one is for actors on the second Tuesday of every month. We have an actors workshop. On the third Tuesday every month is our biggest, it's our general CFAA kind of film-oriented meeting. And then on the fourth Tuesday of every month, we have a writer's workshop, a screenwriter's workshop. In addition to that, we host events and we put on film competitions and we host screenings, and we're a big supporter of the Sacramento Film and Music Festival as an event to really bring all of our filmmakers together and allow them to be showcased in a great festival and theatrical environment. So we've just kind of continued to grow as a support organization for all of the creative people in this region. And as they have grown, we've tried to really keep up with them and to keep doing things that'll challenge them and motivate them and incentivize them to just keep doing it, keep going, keep going, keep going.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, we've got a little clip of your speed dating. You want to set that up for us?
Did. Yeah, we did just recently. That's the second time we've done it. We did a speed networking. There's another group that does a speed casting event, and we kind of got that idea and went, that's cool. We have so many people in this region, and even that come together for our meetings, but really don't take the time to get to know each other. So we did this speed networking, and it was insane and chaotic. Hilarious, but really positive, and the energy was really just palpable. So the clip is one of my board members just literally took his camera and talked to people as they were coming and going. I think when we were taking a break, and you can just see the energy and the excitement and the fun, not only from the people that have kind of been there, done that, and are still in it, but people who come in and see for the first time that there are people who, oh my gosh, they speak our language, and this is the village, this is my tribe. And you can see that they kind of connect to that. So that's what this particular clip is.
Well, let's take a look.
It was great though. A lot of people get to make connections with a lot of people.
Good event. I'm a composer and musician and live here in Sacramento, and also love films. So coming here, be able to meet a lot of people working on films, get to talk to people.
Today it was perfect. It was lots of great experience. There's so many fellow actors, director, producers, there's so many connections. I think that was perfect.
It was very energetic, a lot of people.
I've been to writers speed dating, but that was hilarious. So,
excuse me.
As a you've had more of the producer role. Have you done any acting? Have you done anything?
No, I
that?
never had an inclination to be in front of the camera. As a matter of fact, things like this are even difficult because I'm way more behind the scenes. I want to promote and endorse and cheerlead for everybody else. Nothing makes me happier than when other people find the connections with people in the community that will take them and their projects to the next level. So the producing side, I actually was extremely active in producing independent film for about 10 years. I also took on the co-director role for the Sacramento Film and Music Festival for about 6 years, so I learned the festival side of things, which as a filmmaker with a completed film, that's one of your outlets to, to be seen. So I learned a lot through that. And through the Sacramento Film and Music Festival, I actually met and established award-winning producer Laurie Pedersen, who was the producer for Sling Blade and other Academy and Global and different award-winning films. He actually offered me an opportunity to work with him on an independent basis, and within 2 years he brought me on board full-time to run the distribution and marketing side of his company.
Wow.
So I went from producing and working, I actually worked at the Sacramento Bee, I worked in media, advertising, had a career for about 20 years. At that organization alone, and when the opportunity came up with Larry, that was my time to go, okay, I'm going to go join the circus, because I've worked now for 10 years to prove myself. This is an opportunity to do something outside of my comfort zone, and I was able to get into that side of it, which is very different from producing because it's the nuts and bolts and the business side, really, of filmmaking. The great thing about that is I was able to work remotely. His studio's in New York, and I traveled back and forth, but I was able to stay here. So I still kept my hands in the growth and the development of the CFAA, knowing even more how viable it is for people that really are truly passionate and talented to find that right time at the right place, and wanting to be able to kind of show as an example, I knew nothing. And, you know, just through my just tenacity and continuance of, you know, loving it and wanting to keep doing it and have other people do it too, that really helped me to keep building that organization. So
I wasn't aware that you worked at the Sacramento Bee before you started all this.
Yeah.
So did you kind of ease into it, or did you just quit your job and say I'm doing something
No,
new?
for about 10 years I worked at the Bee full time, and I produced all the feature film, the music videos, the short films, everything that I produced in that period. I did it while I was working full time.
My goodness.
So my weekends and evenings and vacations were allocated to filmmaking.
Yeah.
The CFAA was really fledgling at that point, so it didn't have quite as big a demand on my time. But it truly, you know, it was just perfect timing. I had recently been divorced, and I had now this whole opportunity to do things for myself that I'd never really thought to do before. So it was just perfect timing to be able to take it on, not make anything else suffer in my life it was really the school of hard knocks, because instead of going to film school, I literally taught myself through, you know, continued application, and learned really important lessons and learned really hard lessons. But ultimately, I got to a point where I realized as a producer, you have to be prepared to continue to fight and work and look for work even while you're working. And I thought, you know, I'm not really like that. I don't want to have to struggle to what my next job is going to be. So when the opportunity with Larry in the studio came up, and to do something that really applied a lot of the real world business applications that I had learned in advertising and marketing over the years, because that in distribution goes hand in hand with films. It really was kind of the perfect marriage. It's like I knew enough about making movies, and I knew a lot about advertising and marketing, so putting those together and working in distribution was a great way to just kind of combine all of those skills. And
the whole package.
Yeah, so that was great. And that was a really great opportunity for a while. But, you know, that is something, again, that after a point, they wanted me back east, and I didn't want to relocate. And, you know, the opportunity was not, I kind of outgrew what I was doing there unless I was willing to give up everything I had here, which based on roots and family and just loving this area, I really wasn't prepared to do that. So. But it's okay, because everything happens for a reason, and it taught me so much, and I still apply that to everything I'm doing now. I'm just not doing it in that particular organization. So,
We'll talk a little bit about the film festivals that you guys put on. Names. There's so many. Do you guys do the 10 by 10?
Yeah, the Sacramento Film and Music Festival. Two of the things that we created when I came on board. Myself and Nathan Schemmel and Tony Shepard were the three directors, co-directors. We created the Sac Music Scene program, which is where local artists are merged with local filmmakers to create music videos for their content. And we've had that event that has been very, very successful over the years.
What time of year is that?
That takes place, well, they're making the movies typically spring, summer. The festival itself takes place in generally August or September. It kind of depends on the state fair and other events and things we're working around. But so the Sac Music Scene, we're actually, I think, working to do a call for musicians right now and pull in filmmakers to work on that. Then as you get closer to the festival, to the date of the festival, the 10 by 10 is where filmmakers are given a challenge to make a 10-minute movie in 10 days. So they literally are given some wacky theme and some kind of a prop and some kind of a line of dialogue, or Nate and Tony, I leave it up to them to kind of come up with the crazy rules, and then they make a point of not telling me in advance, because that way they don't have to worry about me leaking it, because I can't keep it secret real well. So the 10 by 10, we literally have a meeting 10 days before the deadline, which is about a week before the festival. And people are then sent on their way. You have literally 2 weekends and a week in between to get this film made and shot and edited and turned in. And then we have those 2 events, really because of what I see as the growth and the development of all the filmmakers in this region, are year after year unbelievable in the attendance and the participation. I can remember thinking at one point, I don't know who's going to sign up for this. I don't know how many people we're going to get. And suddenly we're looking at a couple of the years, we've had so many people that we've literally had to turn it into, instead of a 10 by 10, we've done a 10 by 8. Because the rules were, okay, at this point with this many people, we only have so much time to show it at the theater that doesn't turn it into a more than one day event. So we can either draw straws and some people won't get to play, or if everybody agrees, we'll do 8 minutes instead of 10 minutes on the final project. And that's pretty much been the case when we've hit those numbers. We've had to get everybody to agree, and it's been fine. So it's a fun event, and again, it's one of those things where it just really encourages people. Quit talking about doing it and do it. And then watch what other people are doing who have the same time limitations, who have the same budget constraints, who have the same location and often talent options. Sometimes you'll see people, repeated in different films because everything's happening so quickly. But it's a cool process of being able to look and participate and then observe and gauge your own abilities against other people. And what I think is the neatest thing about those programs, as well as the other just general independent films that are being created here in programs, is year after year seeing the amazing evolution of talent and how some people, you can absolutely see that they have a particular style, and every year it gets sharper and better and more defined. And so I feel like kind of a proud parent when I start seeing the success of their labors come across over the progress of time and the programs that we've put out there for them to just to dabble in.
Oh, I think that's fantastic. Do you have any special, is there one particular project that sticks out in your mind, something that's very close to your heart, your most proudest moment in your career thus far?
The
This is a
funniest
Barbara
thing,
Walter question.
well, the PCS film that we did, the very first one, I probably had more personal involvement and was more proud of that. And I didn't know anything. But we had, my director was Matt Perry, and he did a great job in teaching us how to make a movie, because it's not enough to just have the camera and to find the actors. There's so many nuances that learning the protocol, learning what's expected of you as a producer, what's expected of you as an actor, what the director has, all the different roles and just protocol involved. I learned on that first set. What to look for, how to produce well, what to be accountable for, how to check and double check and triple check, and then, still not be certain until the day that the camera starts rolling, and be prepared with a backup plan. So I looked at that film as something that not only can I still repeat almost all the dialogue from, because for some reason it just stuck with us. We were all involved in the rehearsals. We were all involved in the auditioning.
What was the name of the film?
It was called Sac Noir.
I saw it, yeah.
Sac Noir. And Stephanie Gallart, who was the Capitol Stage artistic director for many years, who just moved away, she was our leading actress. And I mean, we had some of the area's most talented people in that film, and we just had such a great time doing it. And I learned so much that from that experience, I was able to take that to every project that I worked on. And I knew that whether I knew anything or had any experience, I knew that that was the truth of what would work and how to apply that to whatever that next project was. And then just, I love making music videos. Music videos are so great because you don't have dialogue, you don't have audio. You know, your soundtrack is the music and you're telling the story through the actions. And most of the music videos that I've done with some of my closest friends. So it's been like summer camp. So the relationships I've met along the way, the friendships I've made, as a matter of fact, there's probably about a couple dozen of us that used to work together regularly back in the day when we all first started, and we're having a little mini reunion coming up with everybody, and I'm so excited about that because
that's wonderful.
You know when you work on a set and how you just
Absolutely.
miss everybody when it's over,
Yeah.
and then you have that opportunity to see them again. So the CFAA is kind of like that on a monthly basis, in that we give people that physical place to connect, to get together and to talk to each other and to see who's doing what and what kind of projects are going on out there.
Do you have a mission statement?
We do, and it's basically to support and encourage and promote filmmaking, the art of filmmaking and its people, and to contribute to the creative economy in our region. So we want to see, and we've worked very hard for a very long time. We're actively involved with our political partners. We're actively involved with our film commissions. When they have questions or when they need help tapping into the local market, they reach out to us. So we have really earned, I think, an honored position among a lot of these established professional industries and the people connected to them. Our meetings, I don't know what's happening because I've been programming the meetings for the most part forever, but this year we're just blowing out the doors. I mean, we have 3 classrooms at the Art Institute that we can take over for a meeting, and we have had several instances where we've come close to not fitting in those 3 classrooms.
Wow. That's wonderful.
So it makes me really happy because I know we're putting something out there that's important and that's helping a lot of people.
Yeah.
But I also see the connections that are being made just from the people who are participating, who are showing up to listen to the speakers. And so I'm very proud. We're just moving in a lot of really positive directions right now and doing a lot of things that, in a region that really doesn't have a tremendous amount of paid production activity. A lot of the people that are doing this for a living are having to travel. That's the sad thing. That's the unfortunate thing. I want them to be able to work at home. I want to build an industry that we have paid, viable, careers that are based here in Northern California and the Sacramento Sierra regions. Not that people have to drive even as far as San Francisco to get the day work, much less for some of these people that have to, commute to Los Angeles and just to stay active in the industry. So we want to build it here. We just have to work very pragmatically to make that happen because the money is not really here. We've had incentives that have been increased, and that's very helpful. I think the thing that we're looking at next as trying to have an impact in building more paid work is developing regional incentives so that if we have filmmakers that can take advantage of state incentives, that we can lure them even closer to us in Northern California by offering regional incentives. And so there's a handful of people that are actively working to put together some framework of what that would look like and how that can help. It's just a really complicated process.
We're just about out of time. We need to give you your information.
Okay. Our website is www.capitalfilmarts.org. We also have a Facebook page. We have a weekly newsletter that goes out to 2,500 people, and we are happy to include anybody in the newsletter distribution. It doesn't cost anything. Our meetings take place, it's almost every Tuesday. The second Tuesday is our Actors Workshop of every month, and we always meet at the Art Institute of Sacramento. The third Tuesday is our main meeting, our filmmakers meeting. And then the fourth Tuesday is our Screenwriters Lab. So we have literally the 3 Tuesdays of the month covered in terms of anything that can answer the abilities, the questions, allow people to connect on all of those topics. That's where it's taking place. The meetings that we have that take place at the Art Institute are at 7 o'clock, and again, the second, third, and fourth Tuesday of every month. Okay. But do go to our website because you can go there and find out specifically who's talking, what the topic is, if that's something that is of interest to you. And it's every month, except December. We take a break in December and we have a big party. So if you're a member, you get to take advantage of that too.
Good. And let's mention the Day of Giving.
Yes, we are one of the charitable organizations that's participating in the Big Day of Giving, which takes place on May 5th, Cinco de Mayo. And what this is an annual, organized event to draw attention to fundraising for nonprofits. And the Give Local Now is a national organization that is also part of what provides matched percentages of donations. So when, as an example, you make a donation to any one of the, I think it's, I want to say 580 something nonprofits that are participating this year, when you make a donation to them, Give Local Now, once it all filters down, they will pay a percentage match on top of that. So your donation is even greater than what you've made because they're going to supplement that as well.
Super.
So it's a great opportunity to really get out there and support any of the arts or nonprofit organizations that you're passionate about.
Good.
And we're one of those.
Good. All right. So let's give some information about the Story Connection as well, shall we?
The Story Connection airs the second and fourth Thursday at 9:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Our companion show, Paranormal Connection, airs the first and third Thursdays of each month. Each episode repeats the following Friday at 1:30 p.m. and Saturday at 5:30 a.m. You can watch these programs online at the same air times by going to accesssacramento.org and clicking Watch 17, or you can watch us on Comcast Channel 17 in the Sacramento region and on AT&T Channel 99. For information on upcoming shows and previous Story Connection guests, go to storyconnectiontv.blogspot.com. You can contact us at storyconnectiontv@gmail.com, and don't forget, join us on Facebook, become a friend, and become a fan.
Woohoo, sounds wonderful. Okay, well, we've run out of time, but we want to go out on a little taste of what it's like to be involved with the CFAA.
Okay.
So thank you so much for coming on. And
Thank you.
We appreciate all your hard work, Laurie.
Thank you. Appreciate
Okay.
you.
Thanks. Good night.